This child was killed by blunt force trauma to the head and neck inflicted by the defendant.
That defendant is the mother of the victim. The Cumberland County jury will soon decide her fate. Good evening and thanks for tuning in. I'm Dean Johnson. Alicia has the night off. Jury selection began today in the case of a mid-state woman charged with murdering her 3-year-old son. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty in this case. 3-year-old Jordan Jackson died back in 2003, and now, 2.5 years after his death, his mother, Candace Starra, will finally face a jury. If she's convicted, that jury may decide if she gets to spend the rest of her life behind bars or dies by lethal injection.
Candace, how are you feeling this morning? 24-year-old Candace Starra had nothing to say on her way into court, but her attorney says the mother of 4 from North Newton Township is ready to face a jury.
It's been terrible for her to be taken from her family and to wait. Obviously, we're all nervous because anytime you go to a large trial, there's that apprehension. But for her, it's an opportunity to put this behind her, clear her name, and move on.
Prosecutors allege Starra disliked her son Jordan and beat him severely. They say the 3-year-old had more than 50. Pennsylvania, there are 222 inmates currently on death row. Only 5 are women.
Obviously, it weighs on her. Obviously, it's something she's had to live with for a while now.
This is a true family tragedy. Candace's mother, Lois Starra, was charged with endangering the welfare of a child in connection with this case. She has pleaded guilty and already served a prison sentence. She is expected to be called as a witness in this case, and we expect the jury to be seated and testimony to begin on Wednesday afternoon. A Harrisburg man has settled his federal lawsuit for wrongful imprisonment. Stephen Crawford spent 28 years in prison for the murder of a childhood friend in 1971. He was released in 2002 after the district attorney agreed that he did not get a fair trial. Crawford then sued the lead investigators in that case, and that trial began last week. Attorneys told the judge, today, we've reached an out-of-court agreement.
And while no amount of money will ever be able to undo the injustice, I believe, that has been done to my brother and my family, the fact still remains that something good occurred today, and it's been gratifying.
None of the parties involved will discuss the details of the settlement. Carlisle police are looking for a man who fired shots inside an American Legion post this weekend. James Tucker allegedly threatened to kill someone at the American Legion post on West Penn Street early Sunday morning. People say Tucker left and came back with a gun. People at the Legion wrestled the gun away, but not before Tucker fired 3 shots. Fortunately, no one was wounded and Tucker took off. Police think a batch of tainted heroin is in Upper Dauphin. 4 people reportedly overdosed on it in lichens in the past 2 weeks, and 2 of them have died. Tony Martinez has the details.
We saw a guy walk into the house, and then right after that, an ambulance pulled up.
Tina.
Habits. There's the same people. They're just reoccurring arrests, and we put them in, they come back out, and unfortunately, rehab doesn't do anything for these individuals.
Mm-hmm. Nestor and the 2 Welker brothers are expected to be charged later tonight. Police believe that there is more of the tainted heroin out there, and they're hoping it doesn't result in more deaths. And you're going to like this one. A police officer has made a drunk driving arrest this weekend on his bicycle. It happened in Susquehanna Township early Sunday morning. Bike Patrol Officer Earl Schooley says a car ran him off the road in the Deer Path Woods development.
About 3 o'clock in the morning during one of the intensive patrols, and the officer turned around, chased him down, caught up to a stop sign, pulled him over with the bike, and ended up arresting the subject for driving under the influence.
That subject was John Byerly of Lower Paxton Township. He's now charged with driving under the influence. Officer Schooley was a part of a new overnight patrol requested by concerned residents of Susquehanna Township. Watch out, Lance Armstrong. A Pennsylvania lawmaker wants you to keep your hands on the wheel and off the phone. Representative Josh Shapiro says handheld phones led to over 1,100 accidents in Pennsylvania in 2004. He's introduced legislation imposing a $250 fine for driving and talking with the handheld phones.
I'm not telling them they can't use their phone. I'm just telling them to use it in a safer way. And if we can save just a few lives, I think it's worth the effort.
Shapiro claims he has 30 co-sponsors for the bill. And today the Postal Service honored a prominent African American in Dauphin County. The main post office at Crooked Hill Road now bears the name of Legree Daniels. Daniels was a member of the Postal Service Board of Governors from 1990 until her death last year. Daniels was the grandchild of a former slave. She began public service in 1941 as the first African American in the State Revenue Department. 20 years ago, she was Deputy Secretary in the Commonwealth. Her nephew says Mrs. Daniels would have loved today's ceremony.
She'd probably be up dancing up and down these aisles right now, gentlemen, if she saw what would happen right here. My mom was a very humble woman, so services and ceremonies like this, you know, she didn't take very lightly.
Legree Daniels passed away last November at the age of 85. It's no crime for a lobbyist to wine and dine your state lawmaker, and in Pennsylvania there's no shame in it either, because in most cases it's a secret. When we come back, Dennis Owens reports on Pennsylvania's lack of a lobbyist disclosure law. And police officers say the Steelers' star quarterback broke the law when he crashed his motorcycle. More about that when ABC 27 News at 6 returns.